most of us would have been sold to the idea that the prices are going lower. We are expecting further drop in the market, that kind of narrative. But if you're here and learning, gathering information, and looking for different price action to understand what the market is showing you, the real information which you gather from the market, and the wisdom from the experienced individuals, that kind of give you an edge. And that is one of the reasons why when we look for the market and proper understanding of what's about to happen and what you are looking forward to, understanding what the market shows us is important. So here, Mark from Morgan Creek Digital give you the idea that it is, in his opinion, sure that Bitcoin is already in the spring and we are going into the summer. That's the high momentum phase of the market where you see the most gains. So if you are still waiting for another low, which a lot of fear mongers are telling you, you're looking for something below 15,000. You're looking for maybe 12,000 or below. This is the fact. The falling wedge, which we have been through, we've been waiting through that. Now, get this clear. This falling wedge has started forming from 2020 December. And we've been following that the entire 2021 and 2022 to see whether that's breaking higher. At this point here, we thought we were going to break. That was November 2021. We didn't. Then the next time we thought we were going to break. We didn't. And at last when we really broke that higher with momentum, people really think we are still in a bear market. So remember, while we waited for this pattern to break higher so that the market can be bullish, now it is a reality. So you really don't have to wait through that cycle. What you have to understand is this is a short-term chart. We're going to break it down. Volatility is there. Market, the fear, everything is there when you look at an hourly chart. But when you are here looking at the macro perspective, this is clear. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, when we talk through what the experts in the industry are looking forward to with a ton of capital, this is reality. They are talking about the spring event here. They are really looking forward to the summer, which is coming in the crypto market. So right now, when we look at the short-term chart of Bitcoin, this is what we see. We went up, we did a local short-term distribution. There's an hourly chart, okay? Short-term is the keyword there. You went into a channel, you broke that to the downside, and you are right now inside this pattern. So you need to see either the price break to the upside or to the downside, and you have your critical levels there. Now, even that movement does not actually show you a big bearish segment here when you are looking at this on a macro. Because the reality is this. Bitcoin right now did a consolidation around this level. And then it did the capitulation and made the double bottom. But the key difference here is last time when it actually did a drop in capitulation phase, that was like 40%. Right now, what we're observing in the market is just 15%. So either the sellers are weak or the buyers came out super heavy. They came out with big bags to buy in and they bought in. So that's what the market is suggesting. Now, yes, the fact of the matter is when we look at XRP, we do have a pattern here which we had previously. But now the structure is a little bit more clearer, I agree. And the RSI last time when it went up started showing you a divergence, saying, okay, the price is trending down, but I'm trending higher. We are still waiting for the RSI to show us something like that. If we get that, it is going to be the key for XRP to join this rally. Because we will actually see a lot of these altcoins taking off. One of the reasons for that is your support is now holding strong. Last couple of months, we have tried to hold on to this support, and right now we are still holding on to that level. Considering the volatility, say you use a 21-day moving average and measure the downside. That's 6% to the downside. And then the price actually went above the moving average. So if we actually try and see where the price is, relatively, it's almost similar. You're down like 5.75%. So that's not a big level to look for. But what really is interesting to me is that the price actually gave us a clear warning saying I'm making a pattern which is bullish. And it happens to be at a support range. So that gets a little bit more validity and the expectations for that stays strong. Now, while we talk this for XRP, that the price is not doing much, on the other side of it, which is the fundamentals, it is now slowly turning a little bit more positive, right? We just got this information from Jeremy Hogan. Shout out to him for giving us this detail here. Now, in his own words, the expert's words, the SEC has to prove that you had a reasonable expectation of profits from Ripple's effort. And the judge just struck the SEC's only expert witness on that subject. So it literally cannot be from his primary experience. And if it is, he need to actually clearly highlight why that experience is a sufficient basis for this opinion. So it's getting harder and harder to do this stuff for SEC. Now, on the other side, you actually get to see this. Like, this is clear. The judge is asking here, did you mention any of this publicly before? You yourselves just said you don't know. Is that the debtor supposed to read? Now, on that side of it, they have to be clear before they can screw someone. Here, they sued Ripple without giving any clarity. Then the news in the market is SEC is going against the mining company. And initially, the narrative, what I felt was like, okay, that's really bad if they're going against all the mining companies. But when you're reading through what really happens or what they are actually trying to highlight, it is like they sold the mining equipment, which was really not mining, and they bought the asset from the open market and gave them, showing like, okay, you're getting your rewards, right? So that is something positive on the SEC side. If the institution actually did that, SEC sure should sue them. I agree on that point. That's something, positive on that note. But while we look at how things are evolving, that does not really look good, right? Some of these institutions have to slow down because they don't have the proper clarity. Some of them are getting screwed. All of this is out there. And we also see some of these news like, I know it's come up, but we actually saw this individual wearing this saying XRP, the security, right? And I'm like, what's the agenda behind it? We all knew that. They are all in the 8th gate, that kind of stuff which is happening. They really don't like the actual fundamentals of this asset because basically it's not good for them if they are competing against it, right? Now, then I saw a narrative out here, which is the project Icebreaker showing neutral bridge asset. Now, that's actually a positive thought process to think about, but I doubt they are directly talking about the XRP ledger, right? So we already knew that like Sweden is already working on the e-krona, the CBDC platform, and now it is talking about a neutral bridge which they can really use to move around the cross-border payments, which is okay. But until we actually get a confirmation on whether they are using the XRP ledger or a side chain on it, it will be a little bit more than speculation to go that way. Now, look at dollar. What's it doing now? We talked about this last time saying, okay, we are going to get rejected here. We may actually most likely go down. And right now, we got that weekly candle close. We got rejected. Then the next one is slowly dropping. Now, when I made this chart was 104313. Right now, it's a little bit below than that. Now, there's a short-term chart showing you what are the levels to look for and how would the steps look like. Because from here, if the dollar is dropping, it's like a little bit drop first to the next level of support. So each support the dollar is breaking here is going to be a key level for the markets and especially the crypto market. Now, in between, you're going to actually see some movements, some volatility here too. I think Paul is about to give a speech the following day, which means market is waiting to see what this guy is actually going to drop in terms of the words, and they will price it in. It can go into the markets, it can go into the dollar. We'll have to see how that evolves. But one thing which we all know is that the market is clearly, now understand that word clearly, showing you that it now weighs in to the downside, right? You are at a resistance showing this pattern, which is a little bit more clearer, which kind of gives you on a weekly time frame that's happening, and then you go on a daily, and this is what you actually literally see. You're breaking through the supports, which usually means, okay, you lost the buyers at that level. You literally will have to go to the next level to see where the buyers are really interested to push this one up. But based on what the MACD is suggesting, this can drop even further. Now go back to the agenda we talked about. The thought process which these guys were delivering. The thought process which we've been conveying here for a very long time. Wave 1 is completed. You had the consolidation, the capitulation. Wave 2 is completed. You had the clear correction and consolidation, which was accelerated due to the Terra Luna and the FTX issue, right? No one saw that coming completely. But right now it actually seems like we are building back up. We are trying to bounce back up. So neglecting the fact that the market is suggesting something like that at this point would be suicidal in my opinion. Now I can be wrong, but if I'm right, the thought process here is going to be surprising. A lot of people would suggest like, okay, you're going into a bull market. You're looking for 2025 for the real bull market. Maybe I'm wrong, but those guys, either they have an agenda or they have something in common, which they are assuming as a mistake. Because, you have people out there in the market giving you an idea, saying, look at this. The market is showing you dollar is dropping, which means the asset is going to go up. And if the asset class as a whole is going to go up this time around, that's wave 3. You got wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3 coming in. So neglecting that fact won't be the right thing to do. And especially when you are looking at the short-term volatility, you get the understanding if we break this level, literally short-term, we at next resistance level is going to the trend line here, which will bring back some positive sentiment in the market. Now, we actually go in, zoom in on the XRP chart to see if we are getting something positive. Right now, that's something really interesting to watch with XRP because the market as a whole is consolidating and correcting, and we are also in that lane. But the recent support which XRP is making is at a level where it's not dropping and it's still holding on to that pattern which is bullish. But yeah, we need to finally get a break to the upside unless we want to see more bullish momentum. But if we actually observe what we just saw here before we actually went up, that was actually a corrective pattern which went in and showed us, yeah, that's over. You got a double bottom, you got a rounded bottom which went up and broke higher. Now, this pattern does suggest bullish behavior, right? We understand that part. Now, what is more important is for us to look at is Bitcoin right now, because that kind of dictates the market for now, right? As of now, that's what we are observing. And one of the key reasons why we are going in this depth with Bitcoin is that short term, as we discussed last time, some people say trend line don't work. It's completely up to them. It's their opinion. It's their thought process. It's completely okay. But what you look at here is even before we came to this range, understand that. That's important. When we were here, while we talked about this scenario, right? This is your current level of support. You get extended to this. Now, this can vary a little bit here, a little bit there, depending upon how you draw it. But you got the idea here. You came down to that level. You're still respecting that level. And you may get a bounce. Now, that is based on the higher time frame structure where on a daily chart, you literally got a wick first. That was panic. Okay, we can say that was a volatility due to the panic. But afterwards, you got a hammer, after which you got an inverted hammer, which is actually good. And then you got a couple of dojis. Right now, it's still working on that candle. Now you step back even further on a weekly, and you're like, okay, this is something we talked even before about the price action. A giant red candle can be followed by this, which erases this level. That's bearish, which would be something like this. But instead, what we are getting here is taking 3 candles to erase the momentum built by 1 candle. That is not completely bearish. That is a corrective movement. Otherwise, you would have got something like this, where the market suggests, no, all the bulls' efforts are taken down. So here, if you look at this clearly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you literally had 6 candles to move all the way from 19,200 to 24,000, but then just 2 candles pushed it all the way back down. So you actually got that idea from the market. Bulls are weak or bears are stronger. Again, the same. You got like 6 to 7 candles pushing the price up, just 1 candle raising all of those. Right now, you're in a different situation. So assuming the fact that, yeah, bulls are in control is not a wrong thing to do. So this is where you need to actually understand not a lot of assets would be showing you the same. But even if that's true, you need to keep an idea on which assets are showing you the positive narrative. Because if you're in an asset which is way bearish, which is going down, and it didn't get the spring event, that may not be the right place for you if your entire portfolio is there. But understand this is a crypto market where we have a lot of assets moving up and down, and few right now are starting to move up. We had our calls on these, right? We were actually looking through this, and it's really hard to find some of the opportunities right now because the market is volatile. But right now, it's slowly changing. People are starting to understand, okay, the SEC mining issue is not that worse as we initially anticipated. So things are slowly changing. But what we have to understand is now assets are starting to trend up. You are watching them on the shorter horizon, which is the small cap to medium cap, that area, but they are going to come in to the bigger ones. Right now, if we actually go in to look at a different crypto asset, say we take on Mask here to Tether on the Binance, and from weekly we move on to our daily because you need to see more volatility to understand what's happening right now. Otherwise, we can look for the macro. That's a different story. But this is the resistance level which the price is flirting with. 1. And that has been the previous resistance here too. Then, if we are looking at the support, it's here. So, if you clearly look at this, one thing is certain for me that the price action actually made a pattern here. You went up, you consolidated, and now you're breaking through this pattern. So imagine you just got like 3 candles to the upside and it took like 10, 12 candles to the downside to test that. So bulls are strong. So momentum kind of gives you that idea whether that's happening or not. Now, you can clearly add into any different indicator which you want to put in. But for me, while looking at the MACD showing, okay, there is a possibility you may cross to the upside. RSI is pointing you to the upside. The price action is breaking you to the upside. That's something actually good because now if you're a macro pattern guy and you're like, okay, let me actually remove all the short-term volatility stuff. Let me look for the macro inside this time horizon. Then you will be like, okay, there is a possibility that the price is making something like this on a trend line. So I need to make sure the price come to 5.72 and then break that so that my measured move is 138%. But right now, remember, if this is what you're looking at, that's already a breakout. So you're now looking for the move from $4 to 5.7. So that itself is a decent ROI, right? So that's how price move. Now, if you are here in the market and aligning with the other side, saying, okay, we are still in a bear market, we still have a long way to the downside, you're going to miss all of this for sure. There's going to be that call where you'll have to think whether this level of support is holding or we broke that level to the downside. Now, yes, we did break that to the downside, but we came back up. We are consolidating. We are breaking back above. We retested that level and we are bouncing right now. There's just one asset in this market. If you are looking for a lot of these assets to understand what the market narrative is, which of them are turning as an opportunity, which of them are not, then you may look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where you get all these details and the right calls at the right time. Now, if that's not the right time, you won't get it, right? You may get 1 or 2 calls instead of 10. Because if the assets are not ready to pop, then there is no meaning in that, right? Unless you are looking for the macro, which we do every month. And again, I suggest you, if you have time, watching to this video will not be bad. It can give you a lot more information and knowledge, which you'll have to digest and take your own decision. But it's going to be useful. So guys, if you received value for your time, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.